Hi, in this video I'm going to share with you how to use values cards to help your clients in coaching and one-on-one sessions. So I find that using value cards activities is a really great way to get a lot of information about your clients, about what they actually value and how they prioritize their work, or what things could be particularly challenging for them should their life or their organization and their job change. Because consciously or unconsciously, what we value determines how we interact with others, how we perceive things that are happening around us. And what I find when I coach people is that it's really difficult for them to identify some of the values that are guiding their decisions and their actions in life if they don't have some sort of list or values cards to go by. So in this video I want to just show you how you can use a simple deck of values cards in order to help your clients to get clearer on what matters most to them and what matters least to them, and what are some important values but that stand hierarchically behind the core values. So the values cards that I am using today are actually from the Valēre Toolkit that we sell at approachservices.com. But you could use any values cards, you could make up your own list of values to help your clients. That's just the toolkit that I like to use in my coaching sessions. And we recently released an electronic printable version of this for people that just like to print out the values and use it like that. So without further ado, let's have a look at how we use these 61 values in order to help our clients to get through a values cards activity. Okay, so one of the things I should say is that we want to make sure that our clients go through this activity without overthinking it. So pacing our clients through the activity is really important. You can do that individually or you can do that in a team. And I would simply give them the cards and ask them to shuffle the cards and sort them into 3 different piles. So we would sort them into a core value or most important pile, a not so important pile or just important pile, and a not important pile, so all the ones that we are not so interested in. And we can simply do that on the table as we go through. If we feel that our clients are reducing their pace and we're starting to overthink, we just want to urge them along to quickly make a choice. At this stage, it is not so important whether or not we have too many cards in our core, important or discarded piles. What we then do again, we take the most important pile and we'll do another shuffle through that. So again, we'll take these cards and we'll sort them into most important, important and discarded or least important pile again. And what we want to end up with is probably about 3 to 7 core values that are really important to our clients. So the core values that guide most of our decision making, most of our actions in our day-to-day activity. And so what we do now is we lay out these cards and we start asking our clients to put them into groups that make sense. Now, the cards that I'm using have a predefined kind of sense making or definition under the value, but what you maybe find is that your client has a very different meaning associated to the value that they picked, and you want to get their interpretation of what does this mean to them. And in certain groupings you'll find that this actually makes a different sense that you as a coach or maybe the deck would have prescribed originally. So there's a wealth of information in this, and when you do this as a team, you get an insight as to where are we aligned as team members, where are we maybe misaligned or even opposing each other in terms of what is important to us and how can we bridge those things. You also get an understanding as to how aligned is this individual to their environment, like their family values or their organizational values, and how does that make them feel. Now, the interesting bit, once we have our core values or also important values out there and we're starting to work with them with the client, is that we might want to kind of ask, what happens if we, let's say, flick over this card? Does the meaning of the values change? How does that sit with the client? Or we might say, this group of themes here, these 3 values, we might just flick them over and say, like, how does this sit now? Like, how does that change the overall values framework that our client is using in order to sense make of the world? And obviously we want to start with the most important values, our core values, and put them into some sort of hierarchical framework so that we can understand how our clients think and what kind of beliefs map they use to put stories around their life. But we can also do that with the least important or the just important ones to get further information around it. So now in a change management or project management space, what we find is if we do these individual coachings with big resistors or big champions of our change, we get a much better understanding of what is driving their actions, their behaviors, and their interpretation of the transformation that we are pushing, or how are they engaging with this, from what sort of values belief system are they coming in order to sense make of this. This is a very simple way to help our clients come up with the values and organize the values, and it is a much better way than trying to ask them to imagine what their core values are. This is not about like how should we behave, this is about like how do we believe we behave, or how do we actually sense make of the world. So it is not a aspirational values activity, it is a practice value activity that we're doing here. That is a slightly different way than what the Valēre's toolkit is doing by itself, but it is a different way of engaging our clients rather than letting them kind of sense make without any guidance. Make sure that at the end of the activity you give them an opportunity to either write down their values that you've come up with or take a photo, or if you're generous you might want to give them a set of the Valēre cards or the values cards that you use as well, for them to continue exploring what their decisions and actions are guided by. So I hope this was beneficial to you. I hope that you try the values activity with your team or with yourself or with one of your clients, and please let me know how it went. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, share it with your peers, and I'll see you in the next video. If you want to order the cards, head to approachservices.com, and in our shop you find all the toolkits including the Valēre cards ready to be shipped to your address. Bye for now.